Hey, and I'm back. Welcome to another episode of Out of the Darkness and Into the Light. I just love the way that sounds, baby. I love the way that sounds. Today we're going to continue with a second sequence to the previous video, and we were waiting for my special guest, Jess, for her limo to come in. The traffic was kind of heavy. So she's here, and she's gonna bless us, and she's gonna empower us today. And so today we're gonna be talking about types of self-destructive behavior, and Jess is gonna introduce us to another one. And the next topic we're gonna talk about is, tell us, Jess, introduce yourself to the.
Hello, I am Jessie, and I am the special guest that he was waiting for. So today we're going to talk about 5 ways to stop absorbing people's negativity.
Oh, wait. 5 ways. There's 5 ways to stop people's negativity. Watch this. How many fingers am I holding up? 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, 1 thumb. I'm holding up 4 fingers. Now, since I did that, the negative person gonna go, oh no, you got 5 fingers. No, they call this a thumb, and they call these fingers. So I'm holding up 4 fingers, and that's the difference. That's the difference, and how not to absorb someone's negativity. You know, you got all your appendages. And the separation of the appendages are called digits. Digits. So anyway, let's move forward. Enough of me. Let's hear from Jessie.
So let's let go of people pleasing. If someone is complaining about you, gossiping, or talking down to you, don't take it personally or fixate on trying to make them like you, which we try to do.
Yeah.
This will only pull you deeper into his or her field of negativity and make you energetically and emotionally dependent on their opinion.
That's true, because when you fixate on that negativity, when you fixate, that's like a intense focus. You ever seen a cat or a lion or a tiger when they're stalking their prey and they get into that stealth mode and they're fixated on their target and they're analyzing in their head the steps it's going to take in order to get that target, whether that target is for dinner or in most cases, most cats, I've owned cats, and they really don't stalk birds to kill them. They just like to play. But when you fixate, when you focus on that negative behavior of another person, what ends up happening is that energy becomes transformed to you. See, everything is energy, sound, and vibration, and color. Everything. Nothing else left to say. Everything is energy. So if you absorb that energy, that negative energy, then what's going to happen is what you see is what you get. Oh, somebody had a sign. What you see, dramatics. Dramatics, what a name for a group. No, but what you see is what you get. And like we said before, what's in you going to come out of you. I've been drinking water and coffee, and I'm sitting here filming, and what's in me is coming out of me. Water and coffee. Yeah. So don't fixate yourself. Don't even entertain. Don't entertain those negative behaviors. You have to have skills. You have to have negative behavior management strategies. And you know, me personally, I'm like this. I get up in the morning. It's just such a great day to be alive, and I start my day off, and I thank my Father. I thank my Heavenly Father for waking me up to see another day. And then I immediately, well, I do get some coffee, but I immediately go outside and look at nature and see what they're doing. And I ain't never seen two birds having an argument. I ain't never seen two frogs having an argument. I ain't never, you get my point. No negativity. And we're afraid of a lot of things in the natural realm, and they're afraid of us too. And when they see us, they go, hey, there go those humans. They love to kill. Let's get out of here. They don't want to even be bothered with negative, and they don't want to fixate themselves on negative neither. And neither do you. You don't need to do that. So if you're one who likes to gravitate toward, or you're the person who can't say something positive without adding something negative, and believe me, a battery has a positive side and a negative side, and you can't put the two positive sides together because you're a positive person and get the electricity or the energy from the batteries. It has to be positive, negative, and you can link those batteries and increase the voltage or the energy. So I'm not telling you that negative and positive is no good. You can have a positive attribute and then you can have a negative attribute. It's which one you want people to see, and then don't even be a people pleaser. Which one do you want to see? Because if you want to, and sometimes we're unconscious of how negative we can be, and we never give ourselves credit for being positive. I like to consider myself a positive person. I like to laugh. I like to smile. I like to have fun. I don't want to be all grouchy and negative. And I don't get up in the morning looking for an argument. I don't get up in the morning looking for negative things. And I don't spend the rest of my day. See, as soon as I get into a negative environment, that negative aura, I'm out of there. I'm out of this bitch. Like a cartoon. I'm out of here. Negative, no. Oops, I'm sorry. I got my
But I like what this says here, and then I'm going to expound on it. Be compassionate towards yourself and realize that not everyone is going to like you. And that's okay. That's right. Truly okay.
That's right.
Everybody has different personalities, likes and dislikes, and these will create different life experiences for every person.
Can I just say something real quick? And my mother, rest in peace, namaste. My mother was the type, if she got mad at somebody, she wanted you to be mad at him. And I used to go, well, you mad at him. I ain't mad at him. Yeah, but you should. No, you got some issue. I don't have an issue. We do that. Remember I told you before, like I be talking to my grandkids? Don't do that.
But it's just like the saying, your enemy is my enemy. Mm-hmm. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's my friend.
Yeah. So I think to me that's so elementary.
True.
True. Mature people, they don't like someone because you're my best friend and that person don't like you. You don't have to interact with that person. True. Because you're my best friend, right, and that person don't like you. Right. I may choose not to interact with that other person because you're my best friend, but that doesn't mean I don't like that other person.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was in about the 6th grade, and my best friend, he was a white guy, best friend. I'm growing up in the 70s, so that was kind of like taboo for black and white to be friends. I'm just kidding, but he was my best friend. And we was in school together. We was in the same class. We did everything together. He drew, I drew, and we made cartoons together. We did all kind of stuff together. So one day I asked my dad, I said, can I go visit my friend Jimmy Blackman, that was his name, Jimmy Blackman. He said, yeah. So I goes over to Jimmy's, and there was another kid with Jimmy. And Jimmy says, hey, when you get old, you can't remember stuff. I'm not old. I'm just saying when you get old. I'm Matt. he said, hey, Don, I want you to meet Matt, my best friend. I went, I thought I time is your best friend?
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Your best friend could have a best friend.
That's right.
It could be more than one.
That's right. We're only 6 degrees of separation anyway. So.
666. That's the devil.
Show yourself love first, and it will act like a force field around you that will keep others' opinions from draining you. Draining you has a lot for me. So I think for me, I tend to let people drain me because I'm such a positive person.
True.
And when you're a positive person and you hang around negativity constantly, you become drained and then you become negative.
That's right.
So it's okay to help others, but don't let others bring you down with them and become crabs in a bucket where everyone's trying to come out that bucket and stepping all over each other. Then it becomes toxic. So
that's true. You know, in the gold mines over in Africa, so they mine the gold, and one of the things they do is when they come out, they make them take off their clothes and shake all the gold dust off of them, check and make sure they ain't concealing none, and then they're released. But you know what? Here's the ironic thing about that: while they're working in the gold and the gold dust is on them, they're gold. They're golden. Like the Golden Globe statue, the guy with the ball. They're golden because they were in an environment that rubbed off on them. And if there's something as simple as gold dust, enough of gold dust will make a nugget. So just think of enough of negative that you allow to inundate your space. And you don't have that shield, as Jesse was saying. You don't have that shield around you. And look what happens. And before you know it, you're going to find yourself having such a negative behavior.
Well, I couldn't wait to get to this one. Know when to say no.
Ooh.
So I battle with that a lot because of the fact that I want to help, and I want to help so much that people tend to take advantage of that because I am a helpful person. And I'm not necessarily a yes person, but if I see a need, I want to fix it. So I want to read this because this makes so much sense, especially for me. So if you had a guest in your home, would you let him come in off the porch and track mud all over your carpet? Think about that. Or would you require him to clean his shoes before he entered your personal space? What if you asked him for dinner once? I like this one here. And he invites himself over for the rest of the month.
Oh.
Now, I've had that happen where I've allowed someone to spend the night, and spending the night came into 2 nights, and 2 nights came into 15 days, and so on and so forth. And and I it seemed that I got stuck again because I'm such a helpful person. So I need to start learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries is very important.
Yeah, boundaries is important.
And what if he insisted on sleeping on your couch to save himself a trip tomorrow? All without your invitation.
Now that's pretty deep, and I know some of us and like me, and you've dealt with that, and like Jesse says, she's dealt with that before, and all because we didn't want to say no. We didn't want to hurt a person's feeling. But when my kids was growing up, and I didn't like to say no to them, and I would always go, oh, okay, sure. But then I realized that not saying no to them was doing them a disservice, because maybe in the household they're not going to hear no and hear more yeses from dad, and mom may say no, but the world, boy, when the world say no, you scramble that word and it's on. When the world say no means no. Remember that, you guys who dating girls, and the girls say no means no. Now that's a good no. Know when to say no.
And also, being generous can be a great thing, right?
Right.
But there is a fine line to be aware of to make sure you and your generosity is not taken advantage of. Except no freeloaders, which I've done before, naysayers, which I've heard before, emotional vampires. Oh my gosh, yes. Past where you are comfortable. So don't let anyone drain you to the point where you're like exhausted. True. Because you trying to help somebody shouldn't exhaust you.
True.
You know, and set boundaries. We just talked about that, and enforce them.
Enforcement.
Yes, because if you set boundaries and you allow someone to go beyond that, they're going to think you are a pushover.
True.
And that's going to be the end of you setting the boundaries. Oh yeah, she said come in at 10, but I'm going to come in at 11, or I'm going to come in at midnight because I came in at 10:30 and she didn't say anything. Right. Or I came in at 11 and she didn't say anything. Right. So
yeah, that's so true, and I'm glad she mentioned about the energy vampires. You know, we've been conditioned to believe in Dracula or the vampires. There was a guy called Dracula. He was in Romania. He was the impaler. That was his way of punishing people. Do your research. I can't remember the name, but I think his name was Vladimir the Impaler, and he was considered Dracula. Now, when we're talking about draining energy or energy vampires, notice the behavior of the vampire. Comes out at night, so that's representation of darkness. He lives in a cave, that's representation of darkness and separation. And he hangs upside down. What the hell's wrong with you, bat? Get your... Oh no, wait a minute, hold up. And then when he becomes Dracula, he bites you on the neck, which is your jugular vein, which is the main vein in the body, draining your blood, which is your life cycle. That's what energy vampires do. They don't necessarily bite you on the neck. They may give you a monkey bite. Monkey bite. Woo, woo, woo. No, I'm just kidding. They will drain your energy. So we don't want to allow them to do that. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. And what we need to also remember is this is your life. Your body, space, and personal time are your sacred temples. So think carefully about what kind of people you allow access to them.
Wow.
There is nothing wrong with saying no. And I've been practicing.
That's true.
As far as you feel, as often as you feel the need to. Set clear standards about what you expect from others before you give them a place in your life.
That's pretty good, and it reminded me, you know how old people get, they just, hey, back in the day when they told you. No, it reminded me of access, when she was mentioning access. So, I lived in this region before, and there was a summer concert with a bunch of bands, and so I knew what's his name from the Barcades. I knew what's Lakeside. I knew those guys. I knew the lead singer Lakeside, Barcades, and I wanted to see the concert. So a friend of mine, he was he worked at the radio station, and he said, "Hey, I got some tickets for this Summerfest." And he says, "You want them?" Heck yeah, man, I know these guys. So what happened was, it came with a backstage pass. Perfect. So while the concert was going on, I'm backstage. I got a chance to reminisce with those guys and remind them, they said, "Man, what you doing here?" And the point I'm trying to bring is, the people who came paid for the concert. They paid the price for the concert. I received a backstage pass, and with the backstage pass, I had more interaction with the artists. And I'm in the green room, and before each
performance, and I'm back there with them. See, when you allow someone access to your backstage, ooh boy, you better make sure you want them to access that. Otherwise, in order to see you or interact with you, they need to pay the price. They need to pay the price. James Brown said, pay the cost to be the boss. You want to be the boss? Have you paid the cost?
Yeah. I mean, I think access to your personal space is very personal.
Absolutely.
And I think everyone should not have access. And when I say everyone, you know, some people have a lot of friends, some people have a couple of friends, and some people have one friend. And there's a reason for that. Some people can handle having a lot of friends, right? Because a lot of friends don't mean every single one of them have access to you. And so I keep a very small circle because of my personality type. So I don't have a whole lot of friends, which is great for me. But I do want to go down here, which is very interesting. It says, stop feeding the beast. So let's elaborate on that a little bit. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to elaborate a little bit on that. Above, I threw out the term emotional vampire. These are parasitic personalities who literally feed on your attention and affection and suck you dry for all your efforts. Emotionally investing in these people may feel worthwhile at first because we all want to help. We want to help our friends.
True.
We want to help them figure out how to pay that bill and how to stay on top. Okay?
True. But
ultimately, you will find yourself drained of energy. And their many problems are still unsolved. Their thirst for your love can never be satisfied if they are determined to stay feeling like a victim.
And I like to use the word love. I didn't mean to cut you off, but she said love, and that word scrambled is EVOL, to evolve. See, if you evolve in love, oh man, Jesus gave us one command. He said, just love. Just love. There was 10 commandments out of the 500, which came from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. If you see and research the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the first 10 of the 10 commandments is also in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Instead of saying thou shalt not, it says I have not. But watch this. Watch this. You know me, I love. I'm not talking about you, sweetie.
Who doesn't?
I love love. But I love to love. And I love to be loved. But at what price does that love cost? See, Tina Turner said it best. What's love got to do with it? Vampire? Get out of here.
Yeah, okay. So you can offer your support to those who need it. Give a listening ear to a struggling friend or stranger. And strangers do come up and talk to
They
you.
do.
But note when your efforts start becoming redundant, or when their calls for help begin feeling like vies for attention. The more attention you give their problems, the less resolution there will be.
That's right. They want you to do. And a lot of times we have friends, and you got friends like that. I know you do. No, you. I'm talking to you. You got friends like that. They just vying for attention. Vying for attention. Just need your undivided attention. Always.
All the time.
Always.
Yes. And that's when it becomes draining.
True.
So this one here I love. It says, it's not your responsibility to fix their problems. Especially when people don't really want their problems solved. Wow. Okay. I had just had a moment of thought. They want to be pitied. They want to be victimized. I'm a victim. Oh, woe is me.
Right.
It is healthy to know when to walk away.
Mm.
When you feel your resources depleting, offer your sympathies and leave the situation. Honestly, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
There is nothing mean about refusing to engage in someone else's drama. I love it.
That is so true.
I love it.
Kenny Rogers had a song. He said, "You got to know when to hold them,
And know when to fold them.
got to know when to walk away.
And know when to run."
Never count your money. You sitting at the table.
I love it.
Timing up a calendar when the dealing's done. You got to know when to separate yourself from that negative energy. And you got to know when you're in a conversation and it's getting nowhere, and you got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away, and you got to know when to run. If you got a person that's an energy vampire, I advise you, run, Dolly, run.
Yes.
You better get done.
Yes.
I got it done.
And I know a lot of us don't do this, but I think this is very important. And we should, and even I should, do it more often. I do it sometimes, but this is really important. Sometimes this is just return to nature, okay?
Ooh, I like that.
Sometimes you just really need a breather from everyone else.
That's right.
You know, just a
Vacation.
yes, mentally. Their chaotic energies can be hard to tune out. So take a weekend, an afternoon, even an hour for yourself and go somewhere peaceful.
That is the greatest advice. I didn't mean to cut her off, but that is the greatest advice because it just reminds me of me and my own personal behavior. And, being an entertainer and not entertaining, even when I was I love my own personal space. And I got sick of paparazzi want to know what's he doing now? Where's he going? I like my own personal space. And I've been told I'm a loner. I've been told all those things. But you know what? I like my personal space. See, I don't sit here arguing with myself, and I don't sit here giving myself a bunch of negative input. You need to do the same thing. Let me tell you something. Nobody can be you. That's right, but you. Nobody can be you but you. And if you satisfied with the you see in the mirror, that was one of my favorite songs to do with Michael Jackson. I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Yes.
And I'm asking him to change his ways. Now, if you don't want to change, I'm cool. Hands off. But don't invade my personal space, and don't just allow me to be me and do what I want to do. Man, isn't she great? This is good. Oh, man, I done got it with the Golden Corral.
So, I like the fact about the naysayers. I just want to step back a little bit. You know, people that tell you you're a loner is because they can't get access to you.
Right.
And they can't get access to your thought processes. They can't get access to your physical being. So the naysayers will tell you, "Oh, you're a loner." No, I just choose who I want to hang around. I just choose who I want to allow into my space. So being a loner don't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Being depressed is a bad thing. But being a loner, it's not a bad thing because it gives you time to think and it removes you from the situation. Let the many voices of nature replace the mind chatter, the constant of the modern world. Notice the simplicity of the natural world, the lack of motive, the coexistence of all things plant, animal, and earth.
Boy, I love that. It reminded me of the statement she made previously. It reminds me of one of the lyrics in one of my songs that says, "Your life is shaped by the decision and the choices you make."
Yes.
If my altitude is determined by the choices I have made, then my attitude and choices is the way my life is paid.
Correct.
So you got to remember that.
Your life is shaped by the decisions that you make. So if you make a decision not to have a bunch of monkey business and negative people around you, that's your choice. That's your decision. No one can say, hey, that's not, you need to. The thing I like about the social media is if you like the video, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And then you have to be invited into the circle. And if I don't want you in the circle, I don't invite you.
Yes.
Don't take it personal. I'm talking to the people I know because I really don't check that little section a lot because I ain't on it a lot like I need to be. So if you ask me to accept you as a friend and I haven't did it yet, no mistake. I'm not avoiding that. I just, man, I need to go check that. See that I need to keep that in my heart. To check that because it's not that I don't want you to be a part of my inner circle. I'd love to have you a part of my inner circle as long as we doing it over the internet through video. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I just wanted to say, once you do this nature walk, just take a deep breath and meditate. Focus on filling your body with fresh oxygen and elevating your spirit. And when you return to your daily routines, which we have to, right? Because we can't stay in nature all the time. You will feel refreshed and less apt to absorb negativity from others. And by the way, if you like what you're hearing, give us a thumbs up. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
So we're about to conclude, but you know what?
I have one more though.
No, I know
Okay.
you do. I'm just saying because what I want you to do is, can you lean a little bit further, closer, and say that again? Because I don't think the guy back there in the back heard you. He was too busy making microwave popcorn and what?
Well, if you give us a thumbs up, what happens is YouTube will have this circled all over the place. So more people who may need this will be able to hear it. Because everybody who hear this may not need it. But the thumbs up will help someone else. So pay it forward.
And also, just real quick, I know she said, boy, he just talks so much. I want you to tell us again about the nature walk, because that's what I do. I get up in the morning and I go and see nature, and I absorb, and I take a deep breath, and I worship God, and I acknowledge that He is God, and I believe He's a God, and He's my God, and He's my Father.
And when we say nature walk, when you walk, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out in the woods. It's just when you walk. If you go out, if you walk around the corner, you're going to hear birds. You're going to see traffic. You're going to see people walking their dogs. You're going to see individuals walking together. So it just helps to clear your mind of the clutter, because you're focusing on your surroundings. So it gives your brain a break. So your brain is able to relax from all the negativity because you're so focused on your surroundings. And the more you do it, the more you're going to realize it's good for you. It's really good for you. Plus, you're going to get some sun. And if you like beach, you can do it in the evenings. You know, if you don't like the sun, you can go on walks in the evenings, you know. That's my take on it, because that's what I do.
Okay, she's not a doctor. She sounds so like a doctor.
Yes.
Oh, that's some good advice, man.
But if it works for you, take it.
Take it.
Yes.
Because
everything don't work for
I almost
everyone.
said shit. Well,
Oh,
I did. You better take that advice. Come on, you done heard that word before.
All right.
Come on, don't
So we're going to move on. We're going to move on. Okay. Remember who is responsible for you.
Ooh.
You are responsible for you.
You.
I'm responsible for me. He's responsible for himself. You are the only one with any say about how you feel. You are 100% responsible for whom? You. For what you let influence your thoughts and emotions. And if you expect And if any aspect, of your happiness is out of balance, you have the responsibility to check it. Your own perception of yourself is more powerful than anyone else's, because it has to come from inside. Unless you choose to trade away that power for their approval. Let me say something first before you start. So this is really good for me, because people tend to allow other people to characterize who they are based on how you behave with them. So like we were saying earlier, if someone comes into your home, you're not going to let them track up your carpet. If someone comes into your home to stay one night, you should not allow them to stay 2, 3, a month, 6 months, because you have to set those boundaries. And you have to stand firm on those boundaries, because what happens is you give your power away when you don't stand up for who you are. And not saying, oh, you're a terrible person and you make me feel this way. No, you have to stand up for who you are. And sometimes you have to walk away. You know, you don't have to be negative with the other person. Your silence is enough.
Silence is golden.
It is. And I'm going to read this little bit, and then you can expound.
She giving me permission to expound. How you like that?
Once you choose to be accountable for your feelings, right? You free yourself from the influence of others, because now you know who you are, you know who you stand for, you know your boundaries, right? When you are confident in who you are and how you want to feel, it is much more difficult for others to throw you off balance.
Wow.
Go for it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Yes.
There's nothing left to say. Oh, there it is. Look into my eyes. You see the chocolate inside? No, you better take this. This is some real good information.
Yes, it is.
You've been on YouTube looking at people slipping and falling and running into trees. This is life-giving. This is lifeblood. This is information that should be passed on in every household. You don't have to look at this video to do it. But see, back in the day when I was growing up, we had elders who would go over stuff like this. This generation today don't have it. I try to be that grandparent, and I tried to be that type of father that did that. And we need more of that. See, I say it all the time, what the world needs is love. And if you operate in love, guess what? You're going to attract love.
Yes.
Don't you want to attract love?
Yes, you do.
You. Talking to you. Don't you want to attract love? Yes, of course. So we're going to continue. She's a great teacher, great reiterator, expounder, orator, very intelligent. We had an opportunity to kind of have discussions and things off camera. And I'm telling you, if I was a girl, I'd be her.
Thank you. Well, is there anything else left to say? Yes, you said a mouthful of it.
You know what? Oh man, this has been another episode of Out of the Darkness into the Light. I love the way that sounds.
Take care.
Stay tuned. We're gonna do another segment. We're gonna invite. Would you like to have her? Give her a big.
Thank you.
We're gonna have her back. We're gonna have her back. We gonna. Man, we definitely gotta have her back. Until the next time, you guys be blessed. Show love Show some love.
Many blessings.
Don't get caught up in the negative. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Oh my.